From CRI Simple Numbers, this is Profitability Playbook, the Simple Numbers Podcast, a podcast for those championing market growth and anchoring the nation's economy, small businesses, and entrepreneurs.
Hey there. Welcome to another episode of the Simple Numbers Profitability Playbook Podcast. I'm Mike Maxon. That's Brandon Gray, and we're here with a special guest, Zach Oliva. But first, Brandon is going to tell us something. I don't know anyone. He just said he's got to say something before this, so I'm going to let him roll with it.
Good deal. So we're going to do something a little bit special for the month of July for the podcast listeners. We have got a new product called the Simple Start that we're making available to only our podcast listeners, and we're going to give it away. So it's going to be an hour and a half call with a member of our consulting team. We're going to do a condensed version of our Simple Numbers cash flow modeling with that to give some analysis, some KPIs, have a conversation around those. Just like the name says, Simple Starts. It's a way to kind of get an idea of where you stand as a company. We're going to do a drawing for that, for the giveaway. So you can register for that by going to the Simple Numbers LinkedIn page and message us Simple Start. Pretty simple, right? All you got to do, Simple Numbers LinkedIn page, message us Simple Start. That will enter you into the drawing. We're going to do that for the month of July. So if you're listening to this in August or September, too late. But for our active listeners, for the month of July, you've got the month. Go ahead and enter. And in August, we will, on our podcast, announce the winner. So we'll be mentioning more about that. If you got questions, shoot Mike or myself an email about it.
Sweet. All right, back to our regular scheduled program. I feel like it's that podcast. Remember, they always interrupt with the ads right in the beginning. Yeah. You know, like that's what we're trying to get in there with it. So we're graduating up the podcast ranks.
We're learning.
All right, well, we got Zach Oliva here of Oliva Gibbs Law Firm based out of Houston, Texas. He's the co-owner. They specialize in oil and gas title work. Also do litigation and a whole bunch of other legal stuff I'll let him get into. How are you doing today, Zach?
Best day of my life. You?
Same. So, hey, we got some questions for you, some real heavy hitters here. And, you know, one of the things, everybody, I've been working with Zach for a while, just real quick, I'll give a little thing. And it's been Brandon teased this interview on the prior episode, and Zach has really poured the rocket fuel on OG, him and his co-owner, Brad Gibbs. And they've really done a great job of growing their business. And there couldn't be probably, in my opinion, for the clients I work with, a better person to, take us through that journey, because it has absolutely been crazy. And I have gray hair from it and everything, but we've made it. So Zach, kick us off, man. Tell us what's going on at OG right now.
There's a lot of stuff going on at OG. I think, there's a lot of areas of new growth for us. So, first of all, thank you for having me on, and you and Brandon for having me on. And it has been a lot of fun working with you guys over the last few years. And so appreciate that you guys have made it fun. It's been, obviously stressful at times. And I think that the overriding emotion for me is, fun and gratitude for everything that you guys have done for our team and our company. So thank you for that. And, there's some growth initiatives. So we recently opened an office in San Antonio. We're very excited about that. And we are making a heavy push into West Texas, really working with more operators based out of West Texas, Midland, also out of New Mexico. Our litigation practice and our transactional practice continue to, experience growth. And our bread and butter, which is our title practice, really continues to just outperform, I think, even client expectations. And my kind of key KPI for that is my phone ringing with clients who are happy with our services and want to recognize someone on our team. And so, it's just been really awesome to see the team come together and, really create this company. And actually, Mike, I was thinking about when you were introducing me that it really feels like we did a lot of heavy lifting over the last 5 years, I think, and we're in the beginning.
Yeah.
And so most of the heavy lifting comes after today. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sure it's fine, so I'm not really like going anywhere, you know? And so most of the heavy lifting comes after this. And I don't know, I just think that's interesting.
Well, I think well, we're still talking about some of the same things you talked about when you were much smaller, right? Like I said, I feel like, hey, we got to get, the hiring plan in line and meet our targets for that. I mean, still the same things we were talking about. And that's the reason why I wanted you on here. And the reason why I said of all my clients, because it's been so fast. I have great growth across my client base, and those entrepreneurs do a great job, but yours has been like wildfire. And, and I know there's been a lot of things that go in there, but what has been, I'm going to say I know, but I'm going to say it for the podcast. So what's been the secret? What have you done that you felt has contributed to that growth to help this business move along at that speed? And really, man, we haven't had any major setbacks. I mean, there's obviously things you could point to, but it's gone fairly well through it.
I think that it's been a combination of a few things. Getting the right people in the right seats is huge. I mean, we spend most of our waking lives at work. And so really, and we're super committed to our goal of being the best oil and gas law firm in the country. And so we need the right people for that. And, not only does the performance needs to be there, the culture fit needs to be there too. And so for us, it's, as a services firm, a law firm is a services organization, our biggest asset is our people. And so we're really focused on the people and performance management aspect of it and the culture aspect of it. I think also, obviously, following the simple numbers methodology, obviously. And the biggest thing, though, is like not tinkering with it. And I think that I was talking to someone yesterday about this in the context of investment management. Most people, and I've definitely made mistakes with this in my own life when it comes to investing, get bored and tinker with stuff. And like, if you have a system, you just continue to work that system, commit to the system, and recommit to the system. Because, dude, I don't know how many conversations we've had about core capital, labor efficiency ratio, or whatever. Like, you just can't mess up the system. And I feel like all right, for example, here's the simple numbers methodology. Let's just make a 1% change to it. Well, over time, that 1% change compounds and it changes the entire system. Right. And so I feel like part of my job really over the last 5 years has just been protecting the systems that we have.
Yeah.
And not people come in and they're bored, or they come from a culture where they do things a little bit differently. And maybe those things work there and they want to install those things. And it's like, we got this system. It works. Just don't mess with it, please. That's how you get compounding. And the thing is that it's also boring sometimes.
Yeah.
And, we're humans and we like to tinker with things. We like things that are new and unique. Or we hear from someone else that in their business, they're doing something differently and getting different results. And so maybe we want to bring that over. And it's like, we got to follow the system. One of our core values is that we have a passion for learning. We recently hired our first learning coordinator. She's got 20 years of experience building the learning function inside of organizations. So that is an investment that we made in everyone at the firm, because she's going to touch everyone's role at the firm, whether you're a law clerk or an intern or a member of the leadership team, etc. You're going to be taught, you're going to be affected by that role. And that's directly coming into contact with one of our 3 core values. We invest in leadership training, leadership coaching. We built out a university internally into the firm for training called OGU. And we've also partnered with the top oil and gas law professor in the country, Chris Kuhlander. And he's really helped us create a lot of training programs, for our team. And so we've got the best guy in the country when it comes to teaching oil and gas law, teaching our team. And so how do you beat that, right? So really reinforcing and making sure that core value is not just something that's on a wall in the break room, but we're actually living that core value on a regular basis, and also investing in our clients and the oil and gas industry at large by regularly hosting education events, webinars. They're all available on YouTube. You can go look them up. Our team does a lot of writing in oil and gas journals and industry publications. And so that's a really big aspect of our culture here. And so, Brad and I both are aligned in that the best investment that we can make is in our team. And so we're always looking to how can we bolster someone's capabilities on our team. Everyone has like a continuing education or a learning budget at the firm. So we really take everyone's career development, leadership development quite seriously. We want them to grow in their careers here at OG.
And that's another great thing you just mentioned was the dynamic between you and Brad and being aligned. We have lots of owners we work with. I'm sure lots of people listening to this have business partners and stuff like that. What has been the key to you two being so aligned, in your business and the values and goals of the company? I know it sounds simple, but it's amazing how many people you run across that run into problems with their business partners, and it's tough. But you all have, I've worked with both of you. I have separate calls, and it's been nice, and maybe that's why right there, you guys stay up to date on everything. But it's been a pleasure seeing that.
I think really just appreciation. Brad has such a fantastic vision for the level of service that he wants our clients to experience, the level of substantive knowledge that he wants our team to have in a very complex area of law. Oil and gas is an incredibly complex area of law. It's property mixed with contracts, mixed with math, mixed with geology, mixed with some engineering. Like, it's a super complex area of law. And he has such a huge passion for it. And that passion lives throughout our organization. And so I have a lot of appreciation for the intensity of how much he is focused on that. And so I think underlying, our being co-owners of the business is just, I think it's just comes down to any relationship really is just all about appreciation, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's great. And one of the last things I'm going to ask about before I'll let Brandon talk a little bit. He just goes. So I gotta him and Greg, I gotta like with a leash on these two. But they marketing, right, has been fascinating for you all. I think maybe one of the most interesting things over the years with you all is been your investment in marketing and figuring it out and finding what works. And you've made some cool investments in marketing lately. Just tell us about the marketing process for you all and really getting your name out there and really being a name now in Houston and other parts of Texas and in other states with what you all do.
So, if I were to just really break it down to 2 rules about marketing, I think it would be don't screw with the logo. Don't let any channels go off. That's it. There's a lot more that comes down to marketing, but so much of marketing is being distinct in the marketplace. You screw that up when you change the logo, right? you look at great companies like Coca-Cola, for example, haven't changed their logo forever. I was looking at Facebook's logo last week. They've made 2 or 3 changes to that company's logo in like 20 years, right? So, and the changes are tweaks. Now they changed the name, which is another thing, but the changes that great companies make to logos are like so small.
Mm-hmm.
So don't change the logo, which means that you recognize the importance of brand distinctiveness. And the second thing is don't let any of your channels go silent, which means if you're doing something monthly, do it monthly. If you're doing something weekly, do it weekly. Never go silent on any of the channels that you start.
Yeah, and I mean it's cool. And to you guys that experimented, you guys are great at events, and for everybody listening, you know they've really done a good job of finding out. And Brandon, something we talk about on the marketing side, I've learned that their world of marketing isn't what we see on a lot of clients with the pride. They basically it's basically a large brand marketing operation where you just, hey, here we are, we're working in your space and we're doing great. Check us out. And that drives the notoriety, that drives that stuff. You serve your current clients really well. I know that sounds cliche and really easy, but then the name just is around. And so they're running radio ads. You know, they got their events, their parties, their stuff that they do, and they're just there. And if you go to Houston, you mention oil and gas, you find them.
Our marketing team does an amazing job. And it's a really important capability because marketing is about the future, right? So marketing doesn't really help the work that is getting completed today. Marketing is all about future opportunities. And so the more that you focus on marketing, the more you're building a bigger and better future for your organization.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, once in a while, we'll hear something like, are we doing too much marketing? As if there's someone who is in charge of what's too much.
Right. Yeah.
Like, who's the marketing master, right? Like they are of that it controls that. And I always want to create I love everyone on our team. And I always want to create a bigger and better future for everyone here. And so I've always interested in marketing because you don't create that future. You have to create it, right? And you have to tool it with you.
Yeah, very cool. All right, Brandon, I'll let you go.
Yeah. So, you know, Zach and Brad had taken what was a very good company. When we first started working with them, they've turned it into just a great company. I mean, it really is impressive. And the time in which they have done that is very impressive, especially when you look at the market and what's been going on economically during that same time. So given the success, I mean, exactly, if you kind of look back, what are 1 or 2 lessons that you learned in that journey of either things you would have done a little bit differently or something that didn't go as planned?
I don't really have any regrets, but an opportunity for learning for me was that, you know, there was a point in time when I woke up last year. I woke up in the morning and I thought, man, we're going to need a lot of very strong leaders to drive this organization that we've created. Because I kind of see all the things that we're doing now, how that's going to compound, what it's going to look like 5 years from now. We're going to need a lot of really strong leaders. And how are we developing our leaders? How are we developing our people to lead the organization? And that was something that I hadn't put a lot of thought into. And so then I really got intentional about researching leadership programs. How do we build a leadership program? How do we build a plan? Because sometimes you have to start with the end in mind. So, you know, what does it look like for us to be the best oil and gas company in the country, or oil and gas law firm in the country? That's what it looks like to Brad and I. So what do we need to get started on today to get there? And so probably in hindsight, I wish that I would have done that sooner. And I think it's all going to work out great. I mean, it's already working out great. We have some, you know, quite a few very strong leaders at Oliva Gibbs. And, you know, we're making big investments into that across the firm for all roles. And the other lesson learned was, I don't know how you feel, Mike, but I feel like we could have pushed the envelope a little bit more.
Yeah, we could have probably.
Yeah,
I guess.
we would have killed Brad, but I feel like we could have pushed the envelope a little bit more.
It would have. We thought of him in mind. That's why.
Yeah,
That's why we.
it's been a lot of fun, and everything's been, we've been very blessed with the people and the clients and the opportunities. It's been a great experience.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So a few takeaways just to kind of put all this together. Zach dropped some really good nuggets along the way there. So the first one, work the process. I think most of you guys know my side hustles. I work with athletic programs, and one of the things that we have is that success is found in becoming a master of the mundane and the boring. You don't practice a play until you get it right. You practice it until you can't get it wrong.
Yeah.
That kind of mentality. And, that to me, and I think your business proves it, it's a foundational component to greatness. You just have to fall in love with the boring things and do the hard work.
I was thinking about this yesterday so I work out with a trainer every day in the morning. And yesterday I was getting ready and I was like, we've been working together for 2 or 3 years now. And I was like, man, again, I'm going to go again, drive down the same road, do the same workout that I do every Wednesday. Wait, no, today's Wednesday. Every Tuesday again. And sometimes you have great workouts, right?
Yep.
And then I think it was last weekend, I was working with my jiu-jitsu professor on Sunday in the morning. And, sometimes he's like, man, you did great. Here are the things we want to improve on, etc. And I was like, his name is Jackson. I was like, Jackson, what'd you think of today? And he was like, another brick in the wall. Sometimes it's just another brick in the wall. That's part of the process, right? So I'm in multiple areas of my life right now. I feel like I'm in this area where like my main job is to just not screw things up. And it's just another brick in the wall.
Yep.
It's a good song.
The other thing, people in the right seats. And I think for years, people, with college, everybody was talking about right seat on the bus. And yeah, I probably heard as much of that lately, but, I would say in the past 2 months, Zach mentioned it. I've had 2 or 3 other clients mention they've got the right people. They just don't have them doing the right things.
Yeah.
And so, hey, a lot of folks right now are struggling with generating gross margins. Well, how much time are your revenue generating people spending on revenue generating activities?
Do you know where the term right people in the right seats on the bus came from?
I don't.
All right. So last 2 years ago, I went to this Jim Collins, who wrote like Good to Great and all those books. I went to this Jim Collins seminar in Chicago with our team, and he told the story. And so back in the 60s, there was like Timothy Leary and Ram Dass taking a ton of LSD, and they got it from the government when they were professors of psychology at Harvard, right? So they decided that they were going to take a trip from Harvard to like California, and they were going to take a bus trip there, and everyone was going to be taking a bunch of LSD. The only way to make it alive across the country, everyone in the seat had a job. One person was the navigator, one person was in charge of water, one person was in charge of sandwiches, one person was in charge of gas, and all those people, they just had one job. And that's how they made it, baked out of their minds, going all the way across the country on a bus in the 1960s. So that's actually where Jim Collins came up with that concept from.
I will never think of that the same.
Yeah, I know.
That makes so much sense, right? Because when you're in business, like things are it's not like an LSD trip, but things you kind of.
Some people may show up high. I mean,
who's the person doing this? Who's the person doing that? Who's the person doing that? It's got to be organized and intentional.
Yep, definitely. You have to coach and train skill sets. Some other things Zach mentioned. Here's the thing we see a lot of times, and I know you guys learned it on that journey. If you're at 5 million and you want to be 20 million, that sounds great, but selling is probably the least of your problems. And when we many times just don't focus on, like you said, you woke up one morning and went, man, I'm gonna test like some great leaders. And once you get to 10 million, you typically start to see the foundation crack if that leadership team is not solid. So I really like that one. I like the marketing approach on the education side. Educate, inform, build the brand, be everywhere. So I thought those were some great things.
Awesome. Well, I think we really got some good stuff out of that, Zach. We really appreciate you, man, and thanks for coming on.
You guys, this has been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, to everyone listening, remember rewind and listen to Brandon's offer again if you got all that. But look to hit us up with Simple Start for your offer to enter a drawing, and then we're giving away something for free in August. But you got to go back and listen to it because that was a lot. And,
LinkedIn page, message us, Simple Start.
There you go.
Our numbers, LinkedIn page, real easy.
Yes.
You can do this, guys.
All right, for all of us here, we'll catch you next week.
If you want to know more about driving sustainable profitability for your business or are interested in learning more about CRI Simple Numbers, please visit our website at simplenumberscri.com. Thanks for listening to this episode of Profitability Playbook, the Simple Numbers Podcast. You can subscribe to Profitability Playbook on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you prefer to listen to podcasts. If you like what you heard today, please leave us a review. This podcast is brought to you by CRI Simple Numbers LLC, a division of CRI Capital Group LLC, and a subsidiary of CRI Advisors LLC. CRI is the trusted brand under which Carr, Riggs & Ingram LLC, the CPA firm, and CRI Advisors LLC, along with its subsidiaries, deliver professional services. Please note, Carr, Riggs & Ingram LLC is a licensed independent CPA firm offering attest services, whereas CRI Advisors LLC and its subsidiaries specialize in providing tax and business consulting services. These entities operate within an alternative practice structure as defined by the AICPA Code of Professional Conduct and comply fully with applicable laws, regulations, and professional standards. Ready to simplify your business finances and drive growth? Explore valuable resources, books, and tools designed for entrepreneurs and small businesses at simplenumberscri.com.